Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. How you doing? Hi, my name is the Diva D, Denise Thomas from Diversity and Equity in Education. My co-host is not feeling that well right now. She's a little bit under the weather, but it's okay. We're just gonna push through. It's gonna be a quick one since I have no back and forth, too much back and forth banter. But it's okay. We're being hosted by the wonderful and fantastic Bianca Goofy of Teaching for the Culture. So welcome and good evening, everybody. And I'm glad that you're here. And let's get started. Let's talk about what's some things that's been going on around town. So the very first thing that we want to discuss is what's happening with the numbers in our cases in our state as the numbers are spiking with COVID-19. So I don't know how it is where you are, whether or not you've been personally affected by it. I don't know if you know of people who've been who have has it has affected, but I know for a fact that as the numbers are continuing to go up, we're feeling a little bit more, for lack of a better word, paranoid about heading back into the classrooms. And as we can see from just the week before, the cases have gone up exponentially. And so now, there, right before I got on, I saw on there they talked about how the ICU beds, there are 49 hospitals where they are completely out of ICU beds in the state of Florida, and that we are going above and beyond capacity. So even though we tried to paint a picture that it's going to be perfectly fine and we're going to be able to walk back in there and there should be no problems whatsoever, I just don't see how common sense would tell you that this is not going to work the way they want it to work, and especially with the fact that we can't space the kids out. So let's start there. We're gonna jumping off on that point. We're gonna talk about our declaration of intent. So let's start there. So parents, guardians, everybody that you know, please, if you have a child that is getting ready to head back into the classroom in August, this is so supposedly they pushing it back a little bit. The declaration of intent form is due at 11:59 p.m. tonight. It will not. They remember they already extended the window because it was actually last week when it was due. They extended it out to Sunday, which is today evening. We have a link that's here on the screen. The link is also posted on my page. We're going to post it again on our pages. Please, if you have not completed the form, please complete this form. It's a declaration of an intent form. It is located on the Hillsborough County School website, but we're going to also attach the link below because we want to make sure that you have completed it. Remember your choices. You have the choice of a brick and mortar education for your children. That means they go back into the classroom. Then you have a choice of e-learning. And then finally, you have a choice of Florida Virtual School, which is, remember, it is different from e-learning. It's different so that, you're not in constant contact with a teacher. It's very important that you make that wise decision to do what's best for your family, to do what's best. And think about it this way. Think about the health of everybody that's around you. That's what's most important. And the health not only of yourself, your family. Remember, the teachers have to go back. Everybody all together make that general decision. So that's very important that we do that. Okay, so please, please, all I can tell you is, because if you do not complete this form, the default is that your child will go to a brick and mortar school. And I already have heard some questions from parents who spoke to me this particular week. They were concerned about things like busing, and concerned about meals, and just concerned about how interaction is going to be in school. And we're just walking into the unknown. We have actually no idea what's going to happen. So you know that's all I can tell you is just fill out your declaration of intent form and be very, very conscientious about your decision that you're making for your family. Now, next thing we want to talk about, of course, is voting. And it's going to be short because April's not here, but I do want to go through it. Let's talk about this now. Those of you who if you've gone to the supervisor election, or you've contacted them and said to them, hey, listen, can you send in our form, your mail-in ballot? Here is a mail-in ballot right here, okay? It is not long, as you can see, not long whatsoever, okay? Those of you that can do early voting, you just walk right in there, done, all right? Understand something. It takes a very short amount of time to complete it. It takes longer for you to do your research. So what I would suggest that you do is just research. Get the ballot ahead of time. Sometimes they send you a sample ballot ahead of time. Do your research. This election right here, this one that's going to take place in August, it is more important to me than the presidential election. Now, granted that we need to vote for the presidential election because, as you can see, with faulty leadership, we don't have a clue of what's going on. Okay, some states with the mask mandate, some states are not. You actually have infighting within the same state. You have the Atlanta mayor versus the Atlanta governor. I mean, versus the Georgia governor. I mean, you just have so many things that's going on, but you need to vote. Part of the reason why we have with the current president that we have right now is because many of us, and I'm talking about us, like us as in people of color, many of us did not vote. In fact, let me just rescind that by saying not many, thousands of us that were registered voters did not vote. This is the reason why we in the predicament that we in right now. We have no leadership whatsoever that's going to tell us definitively this is what we need to do. You know, I can't even. I can't. But anyway, let me just go over this real quick with you. Listen, hold on. Categories, real quick. They have the clerk of the circuit court, only 2 choices there. Tax collector, 2 choices there. Board of County Commissioners, District 3, you have 5 possible choices there. And it's listed in alphabetical order. So it makes it easier also too. If you already know your candidate, just scroll on down, okay? Circuit Court, 13 judicial districts. So you have Group 9, Group 19, Group 30, and Group 30. Okay, so those have 2 possible people that are running for those seats, okay? Group 31, you have 3. Group 39 is 2. Now you have county court judge, Group 7. There are 4 seats available. And then now you have, which of course affects me personally. Now we're talking about District 5, school board members. So for District 5, you have 4 people running for that district. And then again for District 7, you have 4 people as well. But what you need to do is please do your research. There have been so many things out there that have happened so far. We've had forums, we've had a lot of debates, we've had discussions, we've had they've gone on radio programs. You've got to go out there and do your own personal research. Never rely on word of mouth. Don't rely on, okay, well, I remember how this person did or that person did. That's not what's important, and I think I can look at it objectively too, because I'm not from here. So when you have to, if you start with a frame of mind that, hey, maybe I'm gonna think about elections like as if I'm not a person that actually lives here, or I'm not from here. If you think like that, then research will be easier for you. Don't use anything that you have in the past. Just start to say to yourself, what have they done in their public service in the community, and that's how you need to go forward and proceed when it comes to your voting. So just want to keep that in mind. Other thing too, listen, as teachers, we are looking for cleaning supplies. All right, listen. I don't know about you out there in the world, and I can't see any of my comments or anything like that, but I don't know about you out there in the world. But we are in desperate need of course, Lysol, sanitizer, wipes. Even though we were told that we're going to get these things, it's really important to say to yourself, I'm not 100% sure if we're going to receive said items. So, go ahead and give your favorite teacher a shout out, and feel free to send us in some items, okay? So, real quick, one time, I just want to check. Hey, people. Hey, everybody. Okay. All right. So April. So I'm just going to give a shout out to a couple people. Hey, Sonia. Hey, Kimberlyn. Hey, April. April says the 3 choices are brick and mortar, e-learning, and see Hillsborough virtual, totally different virtual from Florida Virtual School, which is not affiliated with HCPS. Yes. Civil. Always important to vote. Okay. The link for the intent form is below. All right. So that's something that's really important too. Just make sure we do that. Also, guys, listen. Pay attention to what we're going to just use as a personal plea right now. If a business or some sort of establishment is asking you to wear a mask, right? You're looking at it from the perspective that it's not about you, saying that, I don't want to do this, but you're looking at the health of other people. I think we have to take some time in our life to realize that, we've got to start reducing who we are and start increasing the fact that, it's not about me all the time. It's got to be about other people. I mean, I understand sometimes America is a type of country where it's me first, me. It's a very, business related, very go-getting, very, everything is capitalistic. But if you're looking at the overall big picture, and you're looking at the health of people. You're looking at how people are passing away, people are becoming ill, people are becoming just fading away from our existence. We have to look at things that we have to make positive changes, and we have to make productive changes, things that are going to affect us in a positive way. And then, for me personally, when I look at it, if you're not, if you got people who are scientists, who are medical experts that are telling you to make wiser choices, let's try to do that. When you look at the map, and you pay attention to how these maps are, and they show you the signatures of the congregations of where um, the population of COVID cases is just going up and getting higher. You see the colors going to bright red. Well, it's because we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're not social distancing. We're not adhering to what they're telling us to do. We have to be more mindful. I don't know how else I can say this, but we have to be mindful of what people are telling us to do. Because if you're in a household and you're getting sick, and then somebody else is getting sick, and then somebody else is getting sick, it's horrific. Okay, it's not doing great. So, but like I said, we will not be on that long this evening. Part of the reason why, because my co-host is not here. But what I did want to ask, if any teachers, I just wanted to pop in and wanted to thank the teachers who were on last week, because of the fact that they wanted to share their opinions, share how they felt. A lot of us are still having those conversations in terms of, what am I going to do in terms of personal child care for myself? Do I feel like my hands are tied regarding I'm being forced to go back to work when I really feel very uncomfortable about it? Questions being posed in terms of, well, why can't we all just start off with virtual school? And then here's the other point that one of the conversations we had last week was, well, everyone is pushing the kids to go back to school, pushing them and pushing them and pushing them to go back to school, because we have to close these learning gaps, and we have to close these the achievements that the gaps that the kids are having. Well, these kids have been so far behind for so long. Pushing them back a one more physical school year is really not going to make a big difference, because if I've already got a gap that has been, okay, let's just take a realistic example. I've got a seventh grader who reads on a fourth grade reading level. Do we really think that in one school year I'm going to close three grade levels in one school year? It took 3 to 4 years for that child to fall behind like that. Probably that child been probably behind since they were probably kindergarten or pre-K. Because if you are not a proficient reader as a youth, you're definitely not going to get better as time goes by, unless it's something that you're constantly doing, constantly. So for us to say we're going to put these children's life at risk, we're going to put the teacher's life at risk, we're going to push and push and push to close a gap. Let's be real. If you're able to do that, then you are just what I would call a super teacher. You are just amazing. You can do it in PPE, in personal protection equipment. You can do it in a classroom that is going to be hot at the beginning of the school year. You can do it in a classroom with kids who have not been socialized too much at home. So now they're going to come to school and want to be around each other all the time. You have all these factors to consider, and now say to yourself, oh, I'm going to go in and teach and close this achievement gap, close this gap in in a school year that they've already been behind for years. I, you know, I don't know. I mean, but I could just be talking. So anybody got any thoughts about that? I mean, I'm just saying, I make myself laugh because I can't see how that's going to be logical. I can't see, for example, when you see people come in and they actually sit down and look at third graders, and those third graders cannot read the instructions on a test. Having those same third graders sit out for a full school year, or all the way sit out until half of the school year, say till January, is it actually going to change anything? No, it won't. I'm gonna give you this quote right here. I got this morning, matter of fact, at Sunday school. It said, when your words don't work, we have to make sure that our fruit matches the tree that we are rooted to. And I'm gonna say that one more time. When our words don't work, we have to make sure that our fruit matches matches the tree that we are rooted to. So we can't talk a good game on the one side of our mouth like this, and then on the other side of our mouth, we ain't producing nothing. Or I want the kids to be successful, but have you been wanting the kids to be successful all this time? If let me tell you something, the only how you would want to have kids go back to school right now is if every single school and every single child was on reading level. And your biggest fear is to say that, you know what, I'm afraid that the kid's gonna fall behind. So we gotta get them back in school. But if you're telling me half of District 5 is failing, why are you in a rush to send them back to school, man? We've been failing them. Ooh, let me pull this West Indian back because I'm starting to get to the point where you can't understand me. Anyway, like I said, I really don't have that much else to add. My cohort, my number one is actually, ill, not feeling too well. We're gonna keep her lifted up in prayer because just how it is. Like I said, like I was feeling ill myself this past week. And it was more so a it was more so panic attack. It was more so stressful. It was more so hyperventilating. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, and I was losing sleep because I was stressed out. And I could only imagine how the parents are feeling. I couldn't imagine how children are feeling. And I had to get up and move myself. The fact that we had to get up and go and head out to a beach somewhere and just let me tell you how it works. I have been think about this now. I've been inside the house since March. I haven't gone anywhere. I haven't gone to work. Haven't gone to church because my church is closed. Only place I've gone to is a grocery store and possibly to the post office. Okay, because I'm a mail, a PO box. I'd rather have that to send, sensitive documents and stuff too. But that's been my life since March. So you talk about April, May, June, and July. That's 4.5 months inside the house. So the stress, and here's the relief. Imagine simple things like sitting there in a corner on the beach and actually listening to other people's conversations. I was just like, because I'm a people person, I'm a hugger, but I can't touch anybody. But I also listen to people. So imagine just the simple joy that I receive, knowing that I can hear other people's conversations and just see people. Okay, so and look, I'm restraining myself as an adult from not interacting with people. Imagine how kids are when kids get back together and say they're going to see their friends. It's just gonna go one or two ways. Either they're gonna try their very best to isolate themselves, or they're gonna just be come all together like this. But for me, that was a mental thing. I was like, wow, I'm okay because I'm around people. I'm okay. I can hear other human beings. I've been trapped in these walls, looking at these walls and reading books and watching movies and writing but just to know that other people are around, that gave me a mental relief. I felt better mentally. So that's the stress I was going through. Can you believe that? So anyway, that's all I really got. Well, let me see before I go, let me just pop in and see what some comments here. I'm like, hey y'all, sis get to talking. I've been forgetting stuff. Hey, who's this one right here? Kim say, hey, I had a stressful week too. It's been a lot. Absolutely, absolutely. Let me tell you something. Ain't nothing worse than when you are allowing your mind to dictate unnatural fears. That's why I have to constantly stay prayed up, constantly stay lifted up in my mind and say, Lord, help me. Because you can easily fall into depression in this situation. When you seeing things like lawyers preparing documents for teachers, preparing wills for teachers, who does that? Come on down to the office. We'll get you a free will because you're going to work. Nobody in McDonald's signs up to flip burgers, but at the end of the day says, I might die from flipping these burgers. A dentist don't go in there and say, at the end of the day, I might contract something and die from doing this root canal. There's some jobs that, okay, they're perilous, police officers, firefighters, stuff like that. But nobody really would think, except, let me back up a little bit, except for when they start doing school shootings. Nobody would really think that this is how teachers going to go out. Most of us going to come back. The worst we're going to come back home with is a paper cut. And probably we got them, that glue to stick your fingers together and all that. Maybe a kid sneezed on you once. But death? Before I get paranoid. All right, y'all, listen. I've been trying to say goodbye for the past 5 minutes. But anyway, that's really all I have for you all. Listen, I love you all so much. Thank you for sticking with us. We will be back again. Probably might pop in during the week. We'll see. But we just wanted to wrap it up for the evening. And you all have a safe and blessed evening. My name is C. Diva D. No one like me. Diversity and Equity in Education. And we're being hosted again by our fantastic and phenomenal Bianca Guzzi of Teaching for the Culture. Y'all have a wonderful evening. And be safe, please. Bye.